Okay, this week's mindset strategy is going to be busting through those limiting beliefs. You have great intentions, but you don't follow through. You tell yourself you want to change, but you're too afraid to take action. You want a passionate, energetic, healthy life, but you meet roadblocks at every turn. At the heart of this failure to launch is a cluster of limiting beliefs and negative thoughts that reside in your subconscious mind and hold you back. You're really just one or two thoughts away from the ability to make many positive changes in your life. So when you learn to mentally and emotionally disengage from those thoughts, you are going to catapult your potential to do just about anything you want to do. Now, a lot of times these feelings and negative patterns and emotions have been nourished since we were a child. A lot of times, we have family members or peers or teachers that impact our confidence and our self-esteem in a negative way, and we carry that with us, and that helps us to build who we are at a very deep level. So much of other people's thinking shapes our perception of ourselves. And sometimes we aren't even aware, we're not even conscious of what our limiting beliefs are. We just respond in a way that feels automatic and safe to us, but we don't know what the underlying causes are. And really, our limiting beliefs can limit us in so many areas of our life. The longer we hold on to a belief or a fear, the more ingrained it is in our minds and the more automatic it becomes. Our adult lives have added more and more responsibility and layers of stress and disappointment, and they really just help to foster those negative beliefs. But I want you guys to consider, what would your life be like if all of those limiting beliefs simply disappeared? You now have a blank slate where all possibilities are open. There's nothing holding you back from being or trying anything you want to do. You can eliminate many limiting beliefs and manage others so they aren't as powerful, and really so they don't have quite as much of a hold on you. You can do things you never thought possible. You can take action to make things happen. You will have the ability to push through fear to achieve anything you want. So to release these limiting beliefs, we can't just simply address the belief itself. We have to go deeper. We have to get down to the root cause, the ancient history, and the deeper feelings that are attached to this belief. So you can begin by asking yourself a series of deep probing questions to really unhinge from your subconscious mind these beliefs that are holding you back. And you can learn to train your brain to see yourself in a different light. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to print out the exercise on limiting beliefs. Go grab a pen, shut the door, lock yourself away here. We're going to get really, really deep into this. So I want you to make sure that you have at least 20 to 30 minutes of uninterrupted time where you can really focus and work through these limiting beliefs. I promise this work will be totally worth it. I know it's hard and it takes time, and maybe some of this stuff you don't even want to bring up because it's painful for you, but if you take the time to do it, every area of your life will improve, especially with what you're trying to do right now in making these long-term changes with your health. You will find that going through this exercise, you are going to get rid of a lot of what I call stinking thinking. So So we are going to go through these one by one, and I want you guys to, you can either pause the video at each question so you have time to fully digest and answer it, or you can, we can just let the video play, get to the end, and then, you know, go ahead and set off on your own. It's totally up to you how you want to handle it, but I would recommend that you pause the video so that I can go through and give an explanation of what the question is about, and then you have a little bit of time to mull it over and write out your own answers, okay? So if you're ready, here we go. Question number 1. What is your most debilitating limiting belief? We all have many limiting beliefs, but I want you to isolate the one that really interferes with your growth and impacts your ability to take action. Maybe it's that you don't feel good enough, or you're not pretty enough, or you aren't lovable. Whatever that is for you, I want you to write that down now. Number 2, why do you have this limiting belief? This is a question you should ask until you run out of answers. Write down every reason you can think of, starting with the main one, and this probably occurred way back when you were a child. But just write everything down that comes to mind and kind of just brainstorm in this section. Put everything on paper. Okay, number 3. What evidence do you have that undermines your limiting belief? So you might feel a certain way about yourself, but that doesn't make it true. Even if there were truth to this original belief and these negative feelings, you've probably lived a lot of life since this occurred originally. So there are hundreds of reasons why you are good enough or lovable or attractive, whatever that is. Just write down the things that undermine this limiting belief. Okay, number 4. In what ways are you not fully alive and engaged in life? So what I mean by that is, how has your limiting belief held you back from the fullness and joy of your life? Write down all of the possible solutions or all of the possible situations that you can think of where it's held you back. You haven't taken action. You haven't lived in the manner that you want to live. Okay, number 5. How does it make you feel to have missed engaging in life in the way that you listed in question number 4? Pay attention to the feelings you've been knowing what life should be like for you, and all the ways that your belief has prevented you from experiencing it fully. Write these down. Number 6. What would you do with your life if you no longer had this limiting belief? Imagine that this belief just disappears instantly. How would it change your perception of what you can do and how you can change your life? What goals would you set for yourself? If you knew you couldn't fail, what goals would you set for yourself? Number 7, is there any current truth to this limiting belief? Okay, so what that means is what actual circumstances have happened in the last year or recently that support any truth in your limiting belief. Write those down. Number 8, What can you do to correct or change those circumstances that you listed in your answers on question number 7? So many of the negative events, problems, or perceived failures we encounter that support our limiting beliefs can be addressed and corrected, which allows us to see that we aren't so limited after all. Number 9, what is the situation or outcome you fear most tied to this limiting belief? So for example, you might feel fear of being humiliated, rejected, unloved, etc. So what is the worst thing that could happen if you take action to make change? And just to clue you in, usually the worst thing never happens. It's always bigger in our mind and more scary than what actually comes about. But I want you to write out the worst possible thing that can happen. Okay, number 10. What do you think the odds are of that worst thing actually happening? And how comfortable are you with feeling that fear and uncertainty, but taking action anyway? So if you release this limiting belief and take action on the things that you would do in your life, the stuff you answered in question number 6, is if you couldn't fail, how likely is it that you would encounter that worst possible outcome? Now, all change involves risks, even when you calculate the possible outcomes and odds, and you must take risks in order to grow and create a better life. So can you get comfortable with the presence of that uncertainty to be able to take that risk anyway? Number 11, would you be willing to write down your limiting belief on a small piece of paper and seal it away in an envelope for 1 week? Could you operate your life by putting this belief on hold for a week and act as if it didn't exist? If the answer is yes, I want you to write it down on a piece of paper and assign it a number between 1 and 10. 10 is going to be extremely limiting, and 1 is going to be not very limiting at all, based on how you feel about this belief right now. So go ahead and tuck it away in your envelope, seal it up. Okay, number 12. We're closing in on the end, I promise. Number 12, what is the most pressing or compelling goal that you listed in your answer to question number 6? So of all things that you've wanted to achieve, but you've avoided due to your limiting belief, which one stands out as the first one that you'd like to work towards? And lastly, number 13. What are 3 to 5 small, manageable action steps that you could take on your goal this week while your limiting belief is sealed away in that envelope? So you're acting as if you have no limiting belief around this goal. Create a few actions that you will commit to take action to in the direction of meeting your goal. Write them on the calendar or on your planner. Now that your limiting belief is locked away in that envelope, I want you guys to use this time of freedom from this belief and take action. Commit to the actions you outlined and mark them on your planner. You'll likely see how taking these actions further loosens the grip of this belief. How are you feeling about this belief now? Okay, so I want you to wait 1 week. And I want you to open this envelope and read through this limiting belief again. Then I want you to assign a number to the belief on the scale from 1 to 10. Has that number changed at all? More than likely, it's gone down. So consider extending the envelope isolation time for your belief for another week or 2. And I think what you'll find is that the power of this belief diminishes as time goes along, and your confidence and conviction level gets stronger and stronger as you're working on your action steps and you're seeing success. So now that you're done with that limiting belief, if you have any other limiting beliefs that are very strong for you, I want you to go through that exercise with each of those as well. And I know that this takes time, but I promise it will be worth it for you. So just continue working through your limiting beliefs, addressing and undermining them, taking action, and this will put you closer to your dreams. I promise it will. It's a very powerful exercise. Okay, so I have one more little tidbit for you, and this is also really important. If you don't get through the full exercise with your limiting beliefs, these are some short and sweet little, they're called reframes. So anytime you catch yourself saying a limiting belief, I want you to flip it around to something positive, okay? So I'm going to give you some examples. Okay, so one, if you maybe catch yourself saying, I don't have time to exercise. Okay, the reframe on that would be, I deserve and take time to exercise. I don't like to exercise. The reframe would be, I enjoy the energetic and trim body I create through exercise. Now you guys can put this however, you put it in your own words. This is just examples for you. I lose weight, but then I always gain it back again. This is one I hear almost daily. And just so you guys know, whatever you tell yourself becomes your reality. So it is critical that you do not buy into these limiting beliefs and the negative self-talk. So every single time you catch yourself saying something negative, flip it around to something more positive. So in this case, the reframe is, I am in control of my life and I monitor my behaviors daily. I've always been overweight. I let go of the past and I embrace a new healthy me. I'm always hungry, so I always eat in between meals. The reframe to that would be, I only eat when I'm truly hungry and stop when I've eaten enough to maintain my good health or my healthy weight. My family is overweight. It's in my genes. A lot of times we don't feel like we have control, but this is actually not true. So the reframe to this is, I release my belief about others and I focus on my results. And the last one that I have on here is, I'm so far out of shape, it's not possible to reach my goal. A lot of times we give up before we even start. So the reframe to that is, I improve my body one day at a time. So as you can see, this is all about baby steps, and I want you guys to start being very aware of what goes on between your ears. The minute you hear something negative going on, whether it's coming out of your mouth or you're thinking it, I want you to flip it around to something positive. And if you have to repeat that over and over and over and over again for it to stick, that's what I want you to do. So pay attention to all of this week. Spend a little bit of time on the exercise. Let's get really deep on some of your limiting beliefs. Let's knock them out so you don't have to deal with them anymore. Let's create a new reality for you. Okay? Hope y'all have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.